Here. Trevor Gallagher.
Here.
Trevor Richardson.
Here.
And Chris Johnson is here.
Do we have any announcements or comments this evening?
No.
Thank you. Do we have any community input? Thank you, Shall we have a couple people sign up? Could you
We
let
do.
us know who the first person
Yes.
might be?
First person is Colette Johnston, who is a parent.
Got it. Colette Johnson, if you're here,
Yes.
will you please step up to the podium and share with what you'd like to share with us?
Okay.
And we do ask for 3 minutes, and so the timer will start, and then that's kind of helpful to do here. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I have 2 children that attend Central Park Elementary, and I'm here because I have concerns about distance learning. I realize this meeting is about adding 3 days of distance learning. I have concerns though that this is just the beginning, that this could be more. And I wanted to point out one of the statements in the superintendent's message to the school district about infections being higher at any other time during the pandemic. That is not true. I was on the Minnesota Department of Health's website reading their weekly COVID reports. And today, from 1 year ago today, we're actually 39% less. We have our weekly infections, new infections are less than 1 year ago. So that is not true. And also, when you look at the demographics of it, Ramsey County is doing significantly better than many other areas of the state. And also, the new cases, when you look at that by age group, it is not school-age children, especially not young children, like my students in elementary school. So I just wanted to put that out there, that is just not the case. But what we do know is that when students are distance learning, it's a hardship for them and for their families. It puts undue burden on families and students, and it's not been good for their mental health. It's not been good for their academic performance. And I just do not want to see my kids go through that again, because it was horrible last year. And we also think about equity. Like, we care a lot about equity in our district, and we know that this does not affect all families equally. Some families experience distance learning in a much different way than better resourced families. So I want to take that into consideration. And also, like, special needs students. Like, we know that students get less supports at home during distance learning than they do when they're in the school building. So they don't have access to the counselors and the social workers the same way that they would in person. And then the students who receive special needs services, they're either not getting them, or what they are getting is kind of not as effective. For example, speech therapy. You can imagine that speech therapy delivered over Zoom is not going to be the same as in person. And that really affects the child achieving their goals as far as like their learning plan. So I just wanted to speak about the experience that families have had with distance learning, our concerns regarding any move to distance learning, whether it be just a few days or longer. And I want to ask the school board to really be judicious in any decision and weigh that heavily against any perceived benefit.
Thank you, Renee. Michelle, is someone else signed up?
Yes, we do. We have Bruce Ona, who is a parent and community member.
Mr. Owen. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hello, neighbors. And yeah, so I've shared about our mutual interest in keeping kids, students safe from bodily harm. And I brought up a lot of situations that are happening today in schools where 5-year-old black girls being assaulted in the bathroom by a gender fluid boy, about 9 dead of suicide and the 7 hospitalized at Anoka Middle School of the Arts by an LGBT leader who was put on a platform. And any things revealed about what he was doing were ignored by the school administrators, school board, teachers. And well, we saw how St. Paul Harding, we had hundreds of students walk out because of how girls are being objectified and sexualized. And even afterwards, the principal, which I admire, the principal admitted that it's true, that teachers are doing this and they were gonna try to do better. So that's pretty admirable, but it's too bad that's what it takes to, report the crime to the parent report to the police has been the way, to get results and then put them on trial. That's not a good procedure. I think we should implement some preventative measures. For example, we know that males get most of the assaults, and so why would we have males entering girls' locker rooms, bathrooms, hotel rooms, dressing rooms? Target implemented a transgender policy. They stopped it. Why? Because many males were being arrested from filming, taking pictures of girls. We shouldn't even put girls in this position. Think about it. 80% of rapes and sexual assaults are not reported. And so I'm reporting, in Roseville schools, we had the, apparently transgender male who dressed as female assaulted a student here too. We've got to have policies to protect children. I think we need to involve parents in that too.
Thank you. Michelle?
Our last speaker is Angela Byrne, who is a parent.
Thank you. Ms. Byrne?
I signed up too.
I signed up last.
Hi, my name's Angela Byrne. Again, I'm a Harambe parent. Tonight I'm here specifically regarding the 3-day distance learning policy that you guys are meeting for the special board meeting tonight. I'm here to listen, but I do have concerns that we are doing distance learning before the winter break instead of after the winter break. I assume that many families will be gathering over the holiday winter break. I'm in the middle of vaccinating my 7-year-old, so she will be fully vaccinated on December 30th, I think. So, we'll have good immunity by then, but I know a lot of kids aren't yet. It seems like maybe 3 days or 4, maybe a week after break would have been better to disrupt infection. But again, I'm a licensed CPA, not a nurse, and not a medical professional, so I'm here to listen. But I do have concerns about doing distance learning before the break instead of after the break if we're really looking to disrupt COVID infections. Regarding, to change subject of why I'm always here, is that my assigned male at birth trans daughter is continuing to be targeted by this community, and that I want her safe in the schools here. I appreciate MDE's statewide policy about how we accommodate transgendered students and that they are to use the facilities of their choice, of their gender. Gender is not a choice. I shouldn't have said choice. It's inherent in them. It needs to be what is comfortable for them. And if we're speaking about perpetuation of abuse, cishet men are responsible for the majority of it. And my daughter will be at risk of abuse far more than anybody else, including cis women. We don't have to look very far for the statistics that trans women are high targets for this kind of abuse. And we need to continue to protect our LGBT youth in the school district. I will be joining the LGBT Parent Student Staff Council. Tomorrow is our first meeting, and I look forward to doing that. Continuing to work with you all on making sure that our youth are safe and gender affirmed, and that we are not listening to non-scientific moral panic when we're talking about how abuse is structured in our district. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We do have one more speaker, Kathleen Bart, who is a community member.
Yep, thank Thank you. Mark, could you start? Thank you.
So I'm speaking today on girls' rights. We've had many policies in our country that have been unjust, and most unfortunately been overturned. We're living with a Minnesota policy right now that's unjust and needs to be changed. Half of the population in our public schools has had their rights taken away for the sake of a minority of people. I'm speaking today about the rights of girls to use their bathrooms and locker rooms without having boys entering into their private spaces. This unjust policy states that a child must be allowed access to the bathroom with their gender preference. And if another child objects, that child's given a different bathroom to use. So if a boy decides he's gender fluid tomorrow, he can walk right into the girl's bathroom. If the girl objects, she's shown to a different facility. Already girls have been filmed in school bathrooms without their knowledge. They find out later when these pictures and videos are being passed around the school. At least one girl has already been raped in her high school bathroom. A boy was feeling gender fluid one day, so he put on a skirt and took advantage of a 15-year-old girl at their Virginia high school and repeatedly raped her. My question to the school board is simple. How are you protecting the girls of this school district from this obviously unjust policy? Please don't tell me that the girl that objects is shown a different bathroom. You've then taken away her right to safely use her bathroom. Remember, you have an unjust policy, and some boys will take advantage of this policy to harm girls. How are you going to restore the rights of girls to use the girls' bathroom and protect them from predatory boys? The parents and tax-paying citizens of the Roseville School District deserve an answer. Thank you.
With that being a special meeting tonight with one topic, we will break into the action item and the learning model transition. And I think we'll be kicked off by Superintendent Blake.
Yes, thank you, and I'd ask my colleagues to join me on the table at this time. And maybe if I could ask for some teamwork, I'm wondering if we should move this or keep it. Here we go, things are right there.
Is that all right there? I'm fine.
Great, thank you. That's good, that's good.
I'm going to end this video now because they're going into
Thank you, everyone, and thanks
the
for being
special
here.
meeting for the
District administration is formally recommending a temporary shift to distance learning December 20th
approving the
to
extra 3 days of
3 days leading up to winter break. This is due to the ongoing COVID-19
distance
pandemic
learning.
that